Yo dog, Kenny Boucher here, acting substitute host of the Long War Battle Reports. Today we're going to be doing another 3-part series of Inside the Mind of a Tournament Gamer.
Do-do-do. In the mind of me.
Inside Juice for a 3-game tournament series. I am very excited to see what the future holds for us.
Okay, game 3, guys. This is it. This is going into this game. I have a tie with Kenny and a solid win.
So currently undefeated with your basically Highlanders Tyranids list.
Absolutely. You know, and if I can smash this one out of the park, out of the 30 people that are in this room, I could potentially make it in the top 6, top 8, something like that, which I would. That's what I'm going for. I'm not looking for first place because look at the style of list. I want to have 3 good competitive games.
You just want to have a good showing. You want to feel good about your choices.
Yep, absolutely. And so, and of course, I don't get an easy one going into round 3. Nobody ever does. I get 9 drop pods full of Grafs, Cadillacs, and Scutari models that shoot 1 billion shots.
Yeah, whatever the name of that model is, but they have like the stupid gun that's 1 billion plasma shots.
Yeah, and then they've got that, and then he had some Haywire, but ultimately all those specialty weapons didn't do, or I don't see doing as much compared to if they wound you on a 6, that counts as 2 wounds. So he's got some hidden stuff that ignores cover, this and this. I'm really taking this first 15, 20 minutes of this game super serious to look over his list to figure out where I'm at to make sure.
Especially with the AdMech, all the canticles, like you have to kind of just, it's not an old enough codex to where you could just assume that your opponent knows all the rules correctly, because it's like you always say, if like somebody's like, I'm going to do this canticle, well, let me see what that does again. If they show like even one moment of doubt, you're gonna question them the entire game, because you have to, because it is literally one of the most complex codexes in existence, and if you don't play them, then you don't know them. So now you have to, as a good tournament player, you have to question things that don't come across very confident from your opponent.
Yep. So basically, I'm deploying up. I don't want to go too much into it because the video is amazing. But in my mind, I have got 15 years of playing against drop pods, right? So I'm like, I need to take all this knowledge that I have and ask some random questions in the beginning to give myself a fighting chance. This mission also is Dawn of War. We have table quarters, old school 4th and 5th edition table quarters, which I love. Objective OBJ units count as full, even if they're all the way down. Also, I'm going after First Blood, Marked for Death, and not First Blood, Warlord, Marked for Death, and Linebreaker.
Yep, using that asymmetrical mission design from Nova, which actually pairs really well with the Bringing Hobby Back format. If you just take the points from the missions instead of counting it toward win-loss, you just keep the points. It actually fits perfectly into a Bringing Hobby Back tournament.
100%, and this is going to be a phenomenal game. John, I love playing against him. He's from my local town and Hit Point Hobbies here, and he plays in Fayetteville, so I know I'm in for a good game. Okay, so John has the first turn. I'm used to playing against John. He's a local to the Hit Point Hobbies and the Fayetteville area. So he's actually playing some Drop Pod, Scutari, AdMech, and
Blood Angels.
Blood Angels.
Like. Yeah, it looks like he's got some priests out there adding some Funeral Pains and Auspexes, I would imagine.
Yeah, so basically this is what it is, like literally standard on top of my Sky Shield landing pad, got Raveners on the bottom floor and on the top floor, and I have Termagants everywhere. So with this firepower, I'm actually not that impressed going into turn 1. I'm like, oh, I just have to survive 2 squads of Cadillacs and some random infantry units. But
infantry units have 1 billion shots. Yeah.
And every wound is 2 wounds and this and this.
Every time they hit a 6, it's like you got to make 2 saves.
Yeah, so basically I lost the Damashron and half of the Optimus Prime on turn 1, just to those little bits of firepower. So I was like, okay, so I've got to make some plays happen. So he got a little overzealous on how close he wanted to get to me, but because that's the range of his firepower, it's not really long range.
It's 24 inches. So I would actually comment that. I was initially going to say there's a mistake. There's an absolute mistake here, because you can get out 6 inches from a drop pod. He's absolutely too close with the bottom 2 drop pods on the bottom left.
Yeah, so that's basically, I'm going to make him pay for it a little bit. So Warblast did not go off, which, I kind of needed something to happen. Paroxysm did, which I'm really happy about because...
it lowers the BS and the WS.
Yep, absolutely. So now what I've got is I've got Termagants out that I want to try to assault, and I have this Ravener unit, right? I was like, oh, it's a 6-inch charge, no problem. I made the 8-inch charge with the Gaunts, the long one that I didn't think I was going to. So now I'm like, oh, not a big deal, not a big deal.
We roll that 2 and 201. I've done it 1,000 times.
So turn 1 did not go the way in any of his turn or my turn the way I needed it to.
No, so far not very good. You also, the Hive Tower in the top right literally didn't deal with any of those infantry models. I'm so jealous of him because every time you shoot at one of my squads, like one of my cultist squads with a Hive Tower, they're all dead.
Every one of them. This turn, that turn, not so much. So he did get 1 drop pod in? No, he got in 2.
He brought 2. He brought the Kilexis Assassin in near Swarmlord, and he brought another unit of those blasters on the ice bridge in the middle of the table.
So this dude right here had me a little worried. So I'm like, I really don't know what to do. I can't send in a swarm like this. So basically, I had to go. He's throwing his psych out grenades.
Yep. This is hilarious. This is hilarious.
Yep, so it hits. Okay, got it. I got to take a pair. Oh, that's a 6. We all know what that means. I passed my leadership. Thank you for making me go Super Saiyan.
Hilarious.
So now I can actually interact with him.
Stupid little squad of Skitarii guys or whatever they're called just take out your Optimus Prime on top of the Sky Shield.
I can't even understand. With the lower ballistic skill, with everything else, they had Nidbane on him or something.
Man, well, it's just a lot of people don't realize that those blasters they have, it's just a shitload of shots, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the one that kills me. Not making me feel no pains or that. It's just making you make someone make 3-up saves. Yep. So now my Gene Stealers, again, as you've seen 3 games in a row, they did outflank. They snuck right in behind some line of sight blocking terrain. And the only offense that he can right now deal with them with is the Cadillacs with Grav. And I'm like, come on, shoot Grav
all day, my man, all day. And so you actually, and I love how those Gaunts broke out of that combat. And really easily, and they're about to engage again. This is honestly, outside of a bad first turn, I think that you're going to take over the left side of the field here with your infantry.
Absolutely, because the Raveners were able to kick in. There's only a couple of them left, but they're kick in and do exactly what they need to, is to hold up, try to kill and hold up those Cadillacs as long as possible. So now we've got a unit of Gaunts into the Cadillacs. This unit of Gaunts has been putting in work.
Man, this is the world's strongest Gaunt unit. This is crazy how good they are. They're keeping your Cadillac, the Cadillac destroyers from interacting with your army, and
And I did want to touch on one thing. Whenever I assaulted the Kilexis Assassin with the Tyrant Guard and the Swarm Lord, but excuse me, I didn't. What I meant to try to say was I am bypassed him with the Swarm Lord and decided to use my Lictors, and going into my turn 4, my Lictors and my Swarm Lord are going to combo charge, but I'm going to put a Tyrant Guard in between the Swarm Lord and that, so his instant death attacks can't actually, he'll have to have multiple 6s to get to my Swarm Lord.
Yeah, you don't want to play with that. You cannot afford to lose Swarm Lord.
No, because the rest of my army isn't Synapse anymore. Optimus Prime is off the board. The Malanthrope he is taking so many shots right now.
Yeah, you need that 18-inch range, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically now he's doing canicles left and right, doing automatic wounds, automatic hits.
The litanies of the Electromancer is so OP versus your army. It's just literally all these free strength 4 hits against you.
Yes, it is just he's picking up Raveners, he's picking up left and right. So so I'm still able to win these combats, but through nutrition, he still has more drop pods and everything else. He's really dwindling me down.
Yeah, and I would say honestly, my out the gate critique of this game, because this is a quarters mission where you have to have points in the quarters, right? And I think that's a big problem with a drop pod army, is when he needed to drop more center, because
so you can be a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah, he is currently just so heavy on the left side. He has no ability to score on the right side. I think this is going to hurt him going into the later rounds.
Yeah, so now basically what's happening is I am actually being able to survive firepower. I'm actually able to do some offensive capability, and I'm picking up more models. But that one Hive Tyrant over there, he's tired from the game previous playing against you, Kenny, because I swear that man cannot kill more than 2 or 3 armor 4 guys in a turn.
He finally picked it up after like 250 point Hive Tyrant finally converted on like 3 rounds of shooting.
Yeah,
and finally distracted him. But now look, like there's nothing in the right 2 quarters for him to stop you from scoring. So like this is like, even though he had a great alpha strike, like I said, that's the problem with the drop pod army. You come in for the alpha strike because you designed to do that, and then you lose the objectives if you don't actually if you actually don't kill everything in their army.
Yeah, and then so now basically what was happening, because he was on top of that ice sculpture there in the dead center, he had no line of sight to the targets that he wanted. So what did he have to do? He had to get down on the ground. That's going to turn costly for him. I am in cover, I am shrouded, and I've only got 2 units. I feel like I should be okay for a little bit. Now he did pick up the Ravener, but look at all the firepower, all these drop pods, all this and this, and it still wasn't enough.
No, the Malanthrop has 2 cover for most of those angles, and he's got toughness 5, and he's got a lot
toughness
of toughness
5. Yeah, absolutely. So going into my turn 4, I'm kind of doing a one look over. I thought about moving and charging. I said, no, I can't do that. I need to stay. My units basically need to try to stay together.
Like the only way you win this game is if your units are alive at the end of the game. You can't be taking chances. You have to just weather the storm here.
Yeah, and if you look back, because I moved that Malanthrop this way, now I'm giving the Swarm Lord, which has no Time Regard and is on his last wound. I'm giving him some shrouding ability. I've got the Lictors out there. I literally have to try to keep my units alive.
Yeah, and he's also been jacking your shroud up the whole game because he's using the -1 cover ability and the Auspex. He was stacking them in a lot of ways, taking your cover down -2.
Yep, and then so now this Hive Tyrant who's been chilling is like, yo, I got to make something happen here. So let me move. And start picking up some models. Yep. So basically, and here I am. So the Malanthrop did actually go down in his face, and now he's shooting.
And I think that's his Warlord unit down there in the bottom, and they're just gonna crush that Swarm Lord.
The Swarm Lord, yep. He's definitely was putting in mad work, and he's just finding shots left and right.
Yeah, when you have like a guy with 3 strength 7 shots, and there's 4 of those guys in unit, you can make things happen by just getting a couple avenues of line of sight.
Yep. So that Gene Stealer unit who came in kind of close is now up the board, paired with the Hive Tyrant to put massive pressure and try to eliminate his HQ unit. While the Lictors in the back, there's still 2 Lictors in the back. Who's going to take this back table quarter?
Like, you need this unit to die. You need these guns. You need this guy to come in clutch, and you need these Gene Stealers to do their job for once in their damn life.
Yep. And they did.
And they did it miraculously. This is the most hero 3 Gene Stealers in history.
Yeah, so I just want to point everybody out. Look at the things that were left on the table, guys, that won me the game. 2 individual units of Lictors, 3 Gene Stealers, and a list with 1 single flying Hive Tyrant in it.
Yeah, but you were able to put them in the right spots because your Gene Stealers are objective secure. They count for full points, and so are your Gaunts. So you're able to completely just turn off all those drop pods, and the Lictors had enough points in them to do it too. You took 3/4.
And that 2-man Gaunt unit counts, even because it's objective secure, that counts as the full 30-man or 20-man unit. Yeah. So I only have a few models left, but I was able to put those models right where they need to be. So potentially this game was won on the back of some of the not points effective units that the Nick Codex has.
Yeah, and it's like I said a million times about this drop pod situation. It's like he needs to kill every model in your army to win. Like that's just that's the major problem with drop pod armies is if you don't kill every model in their army, your ability to actually take objectives in the late game is very compromised, especially in OG quarters mission where you need to be all over the place and you need to be shifting units back and forth between the quarters. Like, because this is who has the most victory points in a quarter. Well, guess what drop pods can't do? They can't say I need to be in this quarter now.
Yeah, they can't move at all.
I mean?
They count for half points. I mean, there's a lot of things. I really liked. This is one thing that I noticed. Even though that I lost the Hive Tyrant early on in game 1 against Richard, he being a single Hive Tyrant solely himself was able to put so much work
because he was distracted, because people couldn't focus on him like they normally do. Like, oh, it's just one item, I gotta look it over here. This guy came in, like, he tied you the game against me, straight up hero mode. And honestly, even though he was a complete chump during this game, his existence, his 250 point existence, also helped you win this game.
Yeah, at the very end, everything else. So yeah, I mean, when you hyper focus and have like 4 or 5 of the same units, your opponent now realizes I have to kill all these because that's all they have. There's some stock in giving your opponent target priorities that are different in a different avenue. Definitely kind of showed out here.
Yeah, especially when this is almost a Highlander list. You're one lictor away from a Highlander list, and so great tournament showing. You went. Two
victories. That was a major victory for me. It was basically the old school way of being a massacre. I think the score came out like 17-2, if I'm not mistaken. And then I took a minor victory, which was 14-12, and then a tie against you. So I mean, I am very pleased at the showing that this list had, especially against the board and the field that was out there.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad to hear it, and I'm glad to see it. I can't wait to see more from Inside Juice.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.